Mr. Hamad Al-Marzouk, President of Investment Office, Mr. Burak Dağlıoğlu, business executives from the top companies of Kuwait, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's webinar organized by Turkey Investment Office with the support of our embassy and Kuwait Finance House. I am pleased and privileged to be part of such an exceptional event which will provide valuable insight about the investment opportunities between Turkey and Kuwait. Today, distinguished professionals will be providing guidelines for Kuwaiti investors. I believe their presentations with first-hand information will find good reflection in the minds of business people. Therefore, let me draw a general framework and a vision. Dear participants, as two brotherly countries, Turkey and Kuwait maintain exemplary bilateral relations under the leadership of President Erdogan and His Highness Emir Sheikh Nawaf. However, the level of our economic and commercial relations is still falling behind our excellent political relations. Despite encouraging figures, there is still a big room for further development. While the global COVID pandemic threatens economies, it has also opened windows of opportunities. As we are talking about investment, we need to follow the opportunities. Last year, the pandemic had a slight impact on our bilateral trade and investment figures. It shows that Turkey and Kuwait, as well as the economic relations between our countries, are resilient. This is important to build our strategies. Turkey's economy was one of the few economies to avoid a contraction despite the pandemic, and it expanded 1.8% in 2020. Our economy continued to grow 7% in the first quarter of this year. The recent sharp momentum in Turkey's vaccinations is also raising hopes of a strong economic performance in the rest of the year. Throughout the pandemic, Turkey has shined not only in healthcare, but also in the fields of production, logistics, public security, employment, and social support. Dear friends, with its geographical location, dynamic population, and high-quality workforce, Turkey is already one of the safest investment destinations in the world. Therefore, Turkey has managed to attract approximately 225 billion US dollar of international direct investment since 2003, and Turkey is positioned as a production, export, and management center. Turkey is targeting to increase its market share in global direct investments to 1.5% by 2023. For this purpose, my government is determined to improve Turkey's investment environment. Dear participants, currently there are 382 companies in Turkey having Kuwaiti investors. Total foreign direct investment inflows from Kuwait to Turkey reached $2 billion US between 2022 and 2020. The largest financial institutions and companies of Kuwait have investments in Turkey. They operate in different sectors from finance, food and beverage to real estate and concrete mixers and trailers. They are the success stories of Kuwaiti investors who trusted Turkey as a safe country. On the other side, the appetite of Turkish companies to enter into Kuwaiti market is increasing too. There are around 50 Turkish companies operating in Kuwait. Most of them are in the construction sector and contributing to the development of Kuwait's infrastructure. So far, 49 projects have been undertaken by Turkish companies in Kuwait with a total worth of 8.4 billion US dollars. Dear investors and potential investors, Turkey and Kuwait will grow together, not only in our region, but also around the globe. It necessitates an increase and diversification in our mutual investments. We need to develop multidimensional cooperation in critical areas too, such as health and education. We need to go beyond traditional investment fields. Turkey is a youth-driven, digitally active, innovative country. Every year, around 500 startups are established in Turkey. In the last 2 years, we had 2 unicorns joining the club. Many Turkish startups are looking for international funding rounds. Why not Kuwaiti tech funds be one of the sources? Dear guests, there is a mutual political will to further our relations in all fields. We have a legal framework as well as regular governmental mechanisms for cooperation in economic fields. However, business will be done by the business people. That's why I'm happy to observe an increase in the interaction between Turkish and Kuwaiti companies. As Turkish Embassy in Kuwait, we are trying to act as a bridge between them. I hope travel restrictions will ease soon and business people would be able to move freely. Turkey has already begun easing curbs and offers safe travel in this month. Let me finish by thanking the organizers as well as the participants for making this event happen. Thank you all for being with us today.
Thank you, Ambassador, for this opening speech. Now I'd like to invite His Excellency Ghassan Youssef Al-Zawawi, Ambassador of Kuwait to Turkey. You are on mute, sorry, Mr. Ghassan.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Perfect. Assalamu alaikum. In the beginning, mashallah, my sister, Her Excellency Ambassador, covered all of the points that I have prepared for 3 days erroneously, but now I will try to improvise. I thank her. I cannot agree more with what she has described. We as embassies, we try to facilitate the workflow, the legal framework which between the countries. That's where our area of help, but finding the opportunities, assessing the opportunities, and making the decision is just like what Her Excellency has said, comes from the business and the investors world. They have their own benchmark, they have their own strategies, and we in embassies try to facilitate that and make it more accessible. Being in Turkey for 5 years now, I have witnessed and I have seen growth of the investment players between Kuwait and Turkey. But I always answer when I'm asked by journalists, are you satisfied? Are you happy with this? And my classical answer is no, I'm not. And the reason for that, that when you know that you have the chance or you have the capacity to go for 100, why should you be happy with 50% or 70%? The point I'm trying to make, there are abundance of opportunity, but at the same time there are serious challenges. We have to be also realistic, and maybe my sister Aisha, Her Excellency the Ambassador, would agree with me that there are realistic challenges, and we have to recognize and identify and work together collectively in order to facilitate and to overcome and make it more eco-friendly environment for investment. One of the areas which I find is I think we need to look into also the judicial system. The judicial system is a robust, and people are diligently, and just recently there has been a big initiatives by the Kuliya, which had to do with the human rights, and among that there were a certain aspect of the recommendation whereby there has been some reforms introduced to the judicial system. One of the ideas I've always had in mind, that to have a specialized courts, specialized general prosecutors in the business and the finance would enhance to the reputation of the country and make the economy more appealing and convincing for other investors. Why would any investor go use a certain area without naming any country? I have respect for all the countries, but why would, say, go to country A versus country B? The main point, I think the investment community is sensitive to, and maybe we have bankers with us here, so I'm trying to stay to my limits. Mitigation the risk comes as a priority rather than trying to develop and enhance the opportunity. And therefore, the judicial system is a key element and makes the investor think twice before he can ignore. The other aspect is the regulatory, meaning the facilitation. Obviously, the relationship between Kuwait and Turkey enjoys the best political climate. To translate that to real opportunities where investors can come freely, make their judgments of investments and and see through that these investment processes are successful. That's another aspect. Other than that, Turkey is a vast country with an adequate young population in a geographical unmatched place. All what is needed is, as I said, to create the ecosystem, because investment world is very, as we say, çok hassas, and in Arabic, the same word hassas is the same. And investment would not be interested in justifications. Investment is focused that there's a certain level of risk that they decide on their own terms. If that matches their strategy, then they will jump. I hope I've lighted some, I shed some light on the topic, and maybe with the discussion and with hearing the rest of the guests, I would learn and be able to answer any. Thank you for all.
Thank you very much, His Excellency. I've been living in Dubai, and I realized that there are lots of common words between Arabic and Turkish. I didn't know that hassas is also used in Arabic, but yani and other things very similar. Now I would like to come to Mr. Hamad Abdul Mohsen Al Marzouk. He's the chairman of Kuwait Finance House, to make his opening speeches. Mr. Hamad.
Thank you very much, Your Excellencies, honorable guests. I'm quite honored to be invited to this part of webinar on investment opportunities and cooperation between Turkey and Kuwait. Special thanks to Her Excellency, the Ambassador to Kuwait, and His Excellency, the Kuwaiti Ambassador to Turkey, the President of Investment Office, and everyone who helped organize this useful event. Of course, the two countries have enjoyed very strong economic and diplomatic relations for more than 50 years. Both countries have made remarkable progress over the past decade by signing a variety of agreements covering trade, defense, economic cooperation. And over the past 5 years, there have been numerous visits between the leaders of both countries and high-level officials. This was a major driver to improve the bilateral business and trade relations between Turkey and Kuwait, benefiting many institutions in both countries. As a result of this, economic relations are deepening more and more between the two countries. under Kuwait's development plan, New Kuwait Vision, to transform the country into a financial and trade hub by 2035. Turkish companies are involved in major multi-million-dollar construction projects, such as the new Kuwait International Airport. Our banking group, Kuwait Finance House, has been operating in Turkey through Kuwait Turk Participating Bank for more than 30 years, with a variety of positive achievements. Today, we are among the top banks in Turkey, while competing with nearly 50 domestic and foreign banks. Turkey is a very dynamic market, offering good opportunities to investors from all over the world with strong technological infrastructure and qualified human resources. Kuwait Finance House, we have benefited in many ways from our presence in Turkey, not only from the financial return standpoint, but also from the technology savvy subsidiary in Turkey, which made Kuwait Turk a leader in the Turkish banking sector, spreading the knowledge to other parts of KFH Group as well. Our objective from the beginning has always been to be an added value to Turkey and become sort of a bridge between Kuwait and Turkey. Kuwait Turk has been active in providing support to the development efforts, evident by our participation in several major transactions to finance infrastructure projects in both countries. Examples of this is the financing of the 200 million euros credit facilities for Limak company for the construction of the landmark Kanakkale Bridge in Turkey, and the $831 million syndicated loan for Kuwait Airport. In addition to this, we have extended our support in many big projects, such as treasury sukuks and renewable energy projects in Turkey, with the trust and confidence we have in the Turkish economy. For the long term, we will continue our support for the Turkish economy, as we have always done in the past. Turkey has also provided us with a platform to expand our business to different jurisdictions, such as Europe. In this regard, Kuwait Turk Bank AG in Germany, which is the first participation bank in the Eurozone, plays a key role in facilitating business by connecting Kuwait and Europe through Turkey. The bank uses unique, innovative digital banking solutions, relying on the advanced IT infrastructure of the bank, which was part of a successful digital transformation strategy the bank has implemented. Dear participants, considering Turkey and Kuwait's mutual priorities and targets for increasing trade, we believe that there is room for further opportunities in many sectors, including finance, construction, infrastructure, education, and healthcare. We can sense there is a lot of interest from local investors in Turkey if presented with the right investment opportunities and with the proper risk reward parameters, which His Excellency, the Ambassador of Kuwait to Turkey has alluded to. We believe that there are certain measures to encourage the investment flow between the two countries. Example is to consider abolishing the withholding tax on dividends distribution. This, of course, is just an example of the measures which I'm sure that the meeting today will represent a creative and supportive platform to discuss additional measures aiming at encouraging investment flows and opportunities between the two countries. Distinguished guests, we believe that this panel is quite useful platform for the further development of Turkish-Kuwait economic relations. I'm sure it will be both informative and beneficial to all participants, and hope it will pave the way for bigger and better achievements in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Marzouk, for your opening speech. Since you mentioned about Kuwait Airport, I want to tell you a very small anecdote. Last summer, I was in Bodrum and I was trying to come back to Dubai, and there were no direct flights to Dubai. So I find Kuwait Airlines has a direct flight to Kuwait, and I had a chance to fly with Kuwait Airlines and saw the new airport. And I told many of my friends, so most of my friends came through this way. So I want to thank you to Kuwait Airlines and the beautiful Kuwait Airport. Thank you very much again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Burak Dağlıoğlu, President of Investment Office, I want to thank you again for inviting me to this event, and I'm honored to be the moderator of this event. Now I want to give the word to you to make your opening speech.
Thank you, Arsoy Bey. Again, another session with your moderation. So, Assalamu alaikum, all participants and guests. Excellencies, Mrs. Ambassador and Mr. Ambassador, and dear Mr. Marzouk. Let me first extend my appreciation to the Turkish Embassy in Kuwait, the Kuwaiti Embassy in Turkey, and lastly, Kuwait Finance House for joining us to organize this timely event. For more than a year, we have been dealing with the global health crisis that has affected the entire world, and many news about Turkey's success in the healthcare sector were reflected also in the international media and academics. The government is very careful about keeping overall economic activities on track while protecting public health. According to IMF, in 2020, Turkey recorded the second highest growth among G20 countries, becoming the world's 11th largest economy in terms of purchasing power parity. In the first quarter of this year, as our ambassador mentioned, it maintained its position with a growth of 7%. And I would like to highlight that 56% of this growth rate resulted from net exports and investments, which is an indicator of a balanced and healthy growth. In this context, the sustained economic growth, despite unforeseen conditions and crisis, has proven the resilience of the Turkish economy. Despite the pandemic, international investors continue to make significant commitments in Turkey, and we have witnessed surging cross-border transactions. High-tech-oriented greenfield projects and expansion investments continue in Turkey. Also, the number of merger and acquisition deals have increased, while posting a significant diversification in their nature. We are witnessing the interest of financial investors globally. Turkey, with its entrepreneurial business culture, young and tech-savvy population, have been attracting significant investments from global players. For instance, in the last year, the Turkish entrepreneurship ecosystem has seen 3 unicorns, which means that more than $1 billion of valuation for those enterprises. These are a testimony to the increasing investor confidence in the Turkish economy. In short, we see that the impact of COVID-19 on Turkish economy is limited compared to other economies, thanks to the resilience of the strong economy and strong health infrastructure. Under the leadership of President Erdogan in Turkey, we pride ourselves on understanding, agreeing, and acting on the expanded needs brought about. With this vision, Turkey's continuous reform policy since 2003 has driven our country from the 84th position in 2006 to the 33rd position in 2020 in the World Ease of Doing Business Index. These examples can be amplified. Turkey has been improving its ranking in many international indexes. We have ushered in 2021 with an innovative reform package that focuses on the economy and the judiciary, as Mr. Ambassador mentioned. That reform package has also included exclusive reform and policy actions to increase Turkey's participation in the global value chains. We believe that the new reforms will increase predictability, will reduce red tape, and will offer quick solutions to any issue encountered during the investment process. Dear guests, in the recent years, we hosted Kuwaiti delegations, such as business people, politicians, and journalists in Turkey, and organize events for them. We are pleased with the close interest of Kuwaiti business people in our country and their appetite to further invest in. The total FDI inflows from Kuwait to Turkey have exceeded $2 billion US dollars. Today, almost 400 Kuwaiti companies are operating in Turkey. There are also good examples of very successful investments. Among these examples, there are esteemed managers of Kuwait Türk El Sayar Group and El Mazayi Holding among us today. They will also share their success stories and the investment environment in Turkey. The investment office have been working with our esteemed Kuwaiti investors for a long while. We are quite familiar with your priorities and expectations. We understand your investment strategies and we can offer you customized projects to invest. Firstly, there are ample opportunities in early stage technology startups in various verticals like fintech, health tech, online services, online gaming, and etc. Secondly, real estate opportunities are not limited to residential property, but also include commercial, logistic, and office properties. Today, we will hear more about real estate investment funds, which is a salient asset class for many investors. Lastly, with its geographical location, competent talent pool, manufacturing power, and logistic infrastructure, Turkey is at the heart of the industrial production in the region. Global companies are using Turkey as a R&D, manufacturing, export, and management hub for the region. We produce and export more value-added products in many different industries. Local companies are integrated with global value chains through multinational companies. There is always an opportunity for Kuwaiti investors to partner up with those promising and resilient companies. Significant merger and acquisition deals have been recently announced in many sectors like manufacturing, services, infrastructure, real estate, food and beverages, and etc. And as the investment office, we are ready to assist you to investigate the opportunities in the M&A market of Turkey. In all mentioned business segments, it is possible to develop solid business cases with foreign currency earnings and with rapid growth rate. Distinguished guests, we are inviting Kuwaiti investors to benefit from these opportunities. Our team, who can speak Arabic, are at your service whenever you need anything in regards to investing in Turkey. I would like to end my remarks here and wish you all a very productive webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Burak, and thank you for our opening speeches to ambassadors, to Kuwait Financials and the Investment Office. Now, after the opening speeches, we will have two presentations. One of them will be about real estate sector and the other one will be about food and beverage. Mr. Burak mentioned about lots of sectors which can be cooperation between Kuwait and Turkey, but we want to especially focus on these two sectors. So now I want to invite Mr. Mehmet Ali Ergin. He is the Vice Chairman of REPI to make a presentation about real estate sector in Turkey.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. His Excellency, dear Ambassador, Her Excellency, dear Ambassador, thank you for leading this webinar. Here, all right. Yeah, I'm expecting to talk about real estate sector in Turkey. And we are invited to give this speech, I think just because REPI is the largest alternative investment fund manager in Turkey, regulated by Capital Markets Board of Turkey. So actually about real estate, you know pretty much as any foreign investor knows, and I will not talk too much about the subsectors of real estate because as you know, there are logistics, accommodation, retail, housing, residential. There are a lot of subsectors of real estate in Turkey, and you may benefit if you are on the good part of the deal. I explain the market here in Turkey in terms of real estate. it's like an ocean. It's not like a sea or lake. It's an ocean. And if you're a good surfer, and if you have a good navigator with you, he will or she will take you a nice place with nice wave and wind, and you'll enjoy the surf in the ocean. Otherwise, there might be some problems and difficulties. As I read now in the chat panel, and while we were in Kuwait, which we were there a few times, we have been visiting Mazaya, Markaz, El Tijariya. We have several friends. Even we have visited Kuwait Finance Councils as well. So we have quite nice, good friends over there. And what we always hear about is the frauds or problems that Kuwaiti investors face in Turkey. And this is why I don't want to tell you the growth in the residential market or the returns in retail or office market, etc. Rather than that, I would like to explain you or give you a good news about the exactly same structure that you can find in European Union, which are real estate investment funds. You can use the similar legislation like private equity investment funds for your non-real estate investments. But to be frankly, Turkish government has legislated through Capital Markets Board of Turkey 2 Cominex legislations. One is real estate investment funds. The second is private equity investment funds. And those legislations are pretty much the same legislation, Alternative Investment Fund Directive. So while you do an investment in Europe, as you are using RAIFs or SICAVs or SCSPs, those are almost the same legislation like in European Union. Within the custodian structure, custodian bank, within an auditing structure, independent valuation structure. So rather than getting into a real estate market here or non-real estate investments, like investing in the manufacturing industry, etc., you to use such regulated entities, so will be supervised by Capital Markets Board of Turkey or the custodian banks here or auditing companies here. That's why I would like to focus on real estate investment funds and or private investment funds. Those are the sizes, but rather than complicating too much, I'll briefly explain you that real estate investment funds are not companies. They are funds. They are only title deed and cash. And they might be listed or non-listed. As REPI, we have 3 listed funds, one of them with Qatari Q Invest. Any Kuwaiti investor might be maybe an LP to such funds, depending on his or her requirements or expectations, like rental one, residential one, retail one, because there are a lot of investment funds in Turkey now with different asset management companies, with bank subsidiaries, with independent ones, but you can have a wide selection of investment funds matching your investment criteria, and or you may use that instrument on your own purposes. Like you may be the sole LP in a fund. You might take it to be listed or non-listed. You can keep it as your family fund or your investment club with your friends. But anyhow, it is better to understand that tool in a deeper way. So a real estate investment fund could be established through an asset management company, a regulated licensed asset management company like REPI or any other asset management company are licensed to do that. So basically what they do is they are writing a prospectus, an export document, and writing everything down there. What could be bought, what could be sold, when, how to enter, how to exit. Everything is so determined. Everything is so clear. The only requirement of Capital Markets Board for such funds are, if you said it's a real estate investment fund, it has to be invested into real estate at least 80%, because there are tax exemptions for, let's say, any real estate investment fund. Let me abbreviate like RAIF. A RAIF is not taxable. There's no corporate tax, no income tax in the fund. I have another page for this taxation issue. But the thing is, a custodian account is mandatory. So each investor has to have a custodian account. So when you buy a property or the land, you may not be sure about the value of that property. But in this structure, daily basis, in your bank account, you know your holdings in real estate. Independent valuation is mandatory. So each property should be acquired through an independent valuation. As an asset manager, we cannot buy above the valuation report and we cannot sell below the valuation report. And an independent audit is mandatory. Either KPMG, EY, Deloitte, or Price, one of four might be, will be, which KPMG is ours. We're auditing all those funds quarterly basis and an annual report. This is the whole structure actually. As you see, there's capital markets board over here. So everything is highly regulated and every move is being supervised and monitored by capital markets board of Turkey. And here we have independent structures like risk management, internal audit, independent financial audit, and TSKB is, which is our appraisal company. It's an investment bank actually, but they have an appraisal division as well. And here we see the custodian banks, could be anyone. Takas Bank is the governmental one. Fund has a custodian account. Each LP investor has a custodian account, and cash and the fund shares exchanges through the the custodian account. So you can follow all your holdings, all your investment and its value through your online banking system. And how do you be an investor? You have to have a custodian account and a portfolio management agreement with your asset manager. Either you became an LP to one or a few funds, or you create your own funds. Let's say you have a group and you already have investments here, and most probably you are holding your investments in a corporation. So you can change the structure, you can put them into a fund structure, and you can be the sole investor of such a fund. You may accept new investors, you can liquidate your real estate holdings and you may accept new investors, or you can sell your fund shares while you keep the property in the fund. So those are the options, and there are more, but basically somehow either be a limited LP there or sole investor in the fund. You have to open a custodian account here so you can hold your fund shares, and then you transfer your either capital in kind or in cash. You put your old investments into a fund or a few funds, either real estate or again private equity. Even venture capital funds are being managed in this regulation. And you and if it's a listed one, you can get fund shares from Borsa Istanbul as well. So each fund has an ISIN number, ISIN code. Through that code, you can get your fund shares through Borsa Istanbul as well. And meanwhile, you can sell your fund shares through the Borsa Istanbul qualified investors market. And what could be the funds? It could be a fund with a capital gain purposes, like land banking. I have seen a guy bought a land and needs a tax number, something like that. You can buy a land fund, and it will be a diversified land portfolio from different cities. So you diversify your investments, and you do not pay any tax just because the value of the property is increased, land is increased. Or you can get into some of your portfolio could go to a rental income fund. So you can enjoy rental incomes in TL or hard currency depending on the tenant profile. But like our Q-Invest fund is such a fund, we have like hard currency rent paying tenants over there. So you have option to spread your investment through different type of funds, and it could be a mixed fund, like some residential, some land, some retail. So there are a lot of funds in different asset management companies, or a tailor-made one that is designed just for your own purposes. You have a real estate holding already here in Turkey, or you had a mandate or objective to acquire such properties. You can design your own fund in your name that you can be at the fund committee, that you can make the decisions, and it could be your fund at the end. Here are the options. Ersoy Bey, I am talking too much. If I go too far, please, you can tell me how long do I left. You can make it a fixed term or indefinite period. You can call it 10 years of a fund, or you can make it indefinite period of a fund. You can make specific sector, like we are buying only hotels, and you should write to a prospectus that you are buying only hotels. Once you do that, that fund cannot buy a residential unit, because Capital Markets Board and the custody bank will be saying you, look, your investors gave you that money just to buy some hotels. You cannot buy land or a residential one. If you wrote it like an office buildings, then you cannot buy a land again. If you write it like, I'm gonna buy only land, I'm gonna do land banking, then you cannot buy anything. So you might be writing your prospectus accordingly. You might accept some new investors to your fund, or you shall make it like a closed end in terms of investors. You can make it open-ended to be sold to third parties. You can make it listed or not. So there are plenty of options. The first rule is you should be writing everything to your prospectus in advance. So what happens when you have a fund? You get some rental income, right? Or you have some cash idle there. Okay, nothing can be idle. Capital Markets Board says you cannot keep any cash idle. You have to invest it somewhere if you have some liquid, because you have 80% minimum real estate requirement, right? And if there's 20% there, you have to make a sukuk or a participation bank account deposit, sort of a thing. Again, all those should be written in the prospectus. So it could be a Sharia compliant one or not. You should be writing everything down, and you do your liquid investments accordingly. Okay, what you got, real estate investment fund or private investment, what you got? You got a regulation. So there will be no much headache saying such company is valid or not, are they true or not, they have a scam or fraud. You have Capital Markets Board over there, and you have the custodian account over there, the custodian bank, and you have the independent audits. So everything is actually being monitored and supervised and regulated by the government. Let me give you another metaphor. It's like Istanbul is a huge city, right? And there are, most of the places are very safe, lightened, police is everywhere. So you're very feel secure. But there are shanty areas too. So rather than going to shanty areas for shopping, it's better to be in a highway that is being lightened and being security provided by the government. So this is the way. Otherwise, single companies or the companies that cannot be very well known, not regulated, it might be a bit tough. Professional management in any asset management company, Capital Markets Board forces to have qualified human resources. So in any portfolio management company, asset management company, there will be perfect advisors for you to advise you, okay, let's buy this or sell this or lease it or not. So there will be a professional management in terms of municipal taxes or leasing it, agreements. There are a lot of stuff in terms of facility management that you need to take care of, which is a headache. I know a lot of Kuwaiti investors buy some residential units here. They're here only summertime. In all 9-10 months time, the property is idle and nobody's taking care of it. It's a headache, I know that, and I'm hearing this from this. Ease of operation, again, our team or any portfolio management company's team is taking care of all investments from all of the, it's a land or an office or a company. It's being, you just do your investments and not financial investment. You don't have your daily operation problems. And economies of scale. You may have a certain budget and you may not be able to reach some higher volume of an investment, but through the fund structures, some friends come together in a fund structure and you can make your own investments with a scale, or you can be an LP in a bigger fund so you can enjoy the volume and the scale over there and achieving high returns. Tax advantages, I will give that pitch for that, but practically any Kuwaiti company has fund shares in Turkey, those regulated ones, and practically there is no tax. This is zero tax. Here,
Mr. Mehmet Ali, sorry, you give me the opportunity to cut you. I don't want to cut you, but can you wrap it up a little bit quickly? Thank you.
Thank you. I have Turkish and Kuwaiti friends that they know me before, and they know that I'm talking too much. That's why I give you the chance to interrupt me. Thank you. Okay. Anyone who likes, I can send the presentation and make private sessions with them. But I would like to tell, no corporate tax, no income tax, no withholding tax at all for Kuwaiti corporations in case that they acquire some fund shares, either real estate or private funds. This is the page for that, but I gave you the brief. And one more thing I need to explain. Your fund share is your fund share. Fund assets is a fund asset. So there is no financial liability of some other LPs, like the IFMD, Alternative Fund Investment Directive in European Union. Neither government is a tax liability, nor any other financial institution in liability cannot be reflected to the fund assets. So we are totally safe and secure over there. This is too much advertising, forget it. Yeah, this is about us. Thank you so much for the opportunity to the investment office of Kuwait Finance House. You know us, most of you we have met in Kuwait. We hope to see you in Istanbul. I think the weather is so hot over there. When you have some free time to spend your vacation here in Istanbul, please pay a visit to our office and we'll have a nice time with you. I will say something else, but there's some government officials here. I couldn't say shisha. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Mehmet Ali Ergin, for the wonderful presentation. And please stay on hold because I see there are lots of questions are coming, and I want to tell you that we will have one more presentation and then we will have a panel. After the panel, I'll try to take the questions. Of course, we don't have time to answer all of them, and also investment offices answering some of the questions, but currently I cannot take any questions, but at the end, I will try to answer these questions, and I will ask my panelists to look at the questions also. There are lots of questions, especially about real estate. Now I'd like to come to Mr. Eliud Umar, and I want to tell you that I'm an ex-Doğuş Group person also. I used to work in Garanti Bank. And especially in this region, you know, Nusret is very famous, Günaydın is very famous. You have restaurants in Dubai. We would like to listen your presentation about food and beverage sector in Turkey, and also maybe you can give some tips about your investments into Kuwait.
Thanks so much, Mr. Erkazancı. It's a great privilege to be here, and I'd like to thank Her Excellency Ambassador and His Excellency Ambassador, as well as the President of Investment Office of the Presidency of Republic of Turkey, as well as the Kuwait Finance House Chairman. So it's a great privilege actually to be able to attend this, let's say, meeting. And, you know, after this very structured presentation of Mr. Ergin, I'd like to take you to the world of the hospitality. I mean, F&B is one key aspect, definitely, food and beverage side. But apparently, you know, it's a great, again, you know, challenge after such a structured presentation to take you verbally on what we have been doing. I'm representing Doğuş Group, one of the largest, I would say, conglomerates of the region, and our, let's say, area of operation expands through media, construction, automotive, hospitality, and real estate as well. So it was a great chance to listen to Mr. Ergin's presentation, some of the key ideas that he's been sharing. We are very much eager as well to follow them in different, I would say, let's say, jurisdictions. So, but apparently, going back to the roots of the overall discussion on my end, you know, I'm very happy to start talking about hospitality. Mr. Erkazancı just mentioned about, I would say, a couple of brands that we represent. Doğuş Group, which I represent, basically, we work on hospitality sites with brands ranging from Nusret to Günaydın, from Zuma to Roka, Oblix, Koya, and also in Turkey from basically Mezzaluna to Kebapçı. So it's a variety of brands, more than 50 brands. With a, let's say, team force of more than, let's say, 12,000 team members, and expanding into 16 countries as we speak. Unfortunately, as we speak, Kuwait is not one of them, but, you know, I'll share the news at the end of the presentation. Hopefully, within the coming year, we will be increasing the operation, let's say, countries to 20, and Kuwait, very fortunate on our behalf, will be one of them as well. With some of the brands that we operate, we will be present in the lovely city, which I had the chance to visit many times. And apparently, with regards to the overall hospitality and F&B network that Turkey provides, it's, as I say, basically, Mr. Ergin used the phrase of it's an ocean. And whenever the overall perspective is on basically the hospitality, I think Turkey is one of the top countries with such a well-trained and, you know, focused service sector. And apparently the sector provides lots of opportunities, especially in different segments, which include the high-end segment, as well as the, let's say, mass markets, where we operate on both as Doğuş Group. And apparently, one key aspect that we reap the benefit is we started every operation in Turkey, and out of our investments, basically 85% of all Doğuş Group investments are in Turkey. But again, we reap the benefit of the environment in Turkey to utilize Turkey as a gateway for international expansion. So we started the hospitality sector 7 years ago, and as we speak, as I said, We're right now operational in more than 15 countries, namely 16. And the overall headquarters is in Turkey. And one key aspect that we find quite useful and basically very accommodating is the workforce, because I think it has something to do with the genes, because apparently whenever you talk about Turkish hospitality, it's a totally different world. Therefore, we reap the benefit of a very well-trained workforce and a great support for the hospitality sector from all Turkish authorities, from Turkey state actually. Mr. Dağlıoğlu mentioned about the, let's say, the 1.5 years, let's say, tsunami story of COVID-19. And apparently, as we speak, in all outlets in Turkey of Doğuş Group, and not only specific to Doğuş Group, but basically with regards to all the other, I would say, companies in hospitality, I'm so glad and proud to share that all our workforce on hospitality, they have full vaccination. Therefore, it's a great privilege that we have whenever we talk about basically our hotels, our restaurants, so that from top to the bottom, every member of our, let's say, organization on the hospitality, thanks to the support coming from the directly the government, the state is vaccinated as we speak, and it creates a huge, let's say, advantage whenever Turkish hospitality sector competes with, let's say, different countries. Therefore, I'm stressing this in all my, let's say, conversations to give as a benchmark idea of the support and the importance that is really allocated to the hospitality sector by Turkish Republic. I mean, it's really a different, let's say, setup. And basically, right now, thanks to all this support, we right now are in a very good position in terms of welcoming our guests from Turkey, from within Turkey, as well as, outside of the country. So what I would like to really stress is basically, we do believe that hospitality sector in Turkey has a total of 3 main pillars. The first pillar is the well-trained workforce that is really creative and that is really accommodating itself to the needs of the, let's say, guests. And basically the second one is the overall establishment. Turkey, needless to say, with the population and also with the proximity to different markets, let it be GCC, let it be Europe, is really, serving as a gateway. So whatever you establish as a brand in Turkey, we can, I think we are the right example to, show at Günaydın or Nusret or others that you can literally expand into different, I would say, countries. And this is the second pillar. The third pillar is basically the growth potential, because I'm so sure all the participants of this panel are really, enjoying after the full vaccination, basically, and everybody is sort of thinking of, going out, dining at an F&B, let it be with the families, let it be with the corporate events, let it be with, let's say, alone. So basically, everybody is after the COVID period. I think we all understood the overall, let's say, mentality and the pleasure that we get from the hospitality sector. This can be a hotel, this can be a restaurant, and what we see is with the vast resources that Turkey is basically, having and promoting. I think it is, especially certain key cities in Turkey, including, of course, Istanbul, but not only limited to that, basically the capital, as well as, some key also prominent cities, especially the, certain touristic destinations are great examples of, let's say, potential growth. Therefore, as Doğuş Group, what we do is what we recommend to others. We continue investing in Turkey. So we are right now working full speed for our Galata Port project, which is a $2 billion project on the shores of Bosphorus, which would create really, let's say, to the edge technology in terms of the cruise terminal, as well as F&B units, and as well as the hotel out there. So, I really like the phrase that, if you recommend something, you shall be already doing it. So we are doing full speed in terms of, expanding our hospitality network. What basically matters though is the strategy that we follow. Basically, is whenever we go into a different country than our origin, we tend to go and find the potential, let's say, best partner that really can help you through with the, let's say, regulations in the country, with the overall business setup in the country as well. Therefore, what we highly recommend to our, let's say, esteemed potential Kuwaiti investors is to definitely go into the deep dive. And of course, you know, they are definitely so much happy, and all the regulation and the regulatory network in Turkey is very much accommodative for standalone investments. But, you know, again, what we do in countries other than Turkey is to go and find the partners. Therefore, I'm so sure there would be on the hospitality front many, many partners who would be really willing to basically cooperate with the potential esteemed Kuwaiti investors. One basically key point is either to go and invest in already established networks under hospitality, and there are vast number of opportunities, especially on F&B side, the restaurant side, as well as on the hotel side. And the other one is basically, you know, Turkey is a creator of many, many brands. Therefore, some investors that we welcome from GCC are very much focused on creating a new brand in Turkey and expand this thanks to the very nice cultural ties to the GCC region. So to give you an idea, again, you know, from our own group, because I have the motto of say whatever you do, so that recommend in line with that one, basically, is we started operations in Turkey, but right now in GCC, as we speak, we are operational in UAE, we are operational in Qatar, we are operational in Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and we will be operational in Kuwait and Ukraine in coming year. Therefore, this again is the showcase of whatever you do in Turkey is really and readily extendable to other countries. But standalone Turkey being a very good, let's say, market for activities and hospitality, I think is satisfactory enough. So basically, this would be in a nutshell, you know, what we do, what we recommend to basically potential investors. And last but not least, you know, we would be very much willing to welcome all key potential investors on F&B in Turkey with a very, let's say, hospitality that we will be showing with ambition to grow in the country and to utilize the importance that the Turkish state, Turkish government is allocating to the basically and support allocating to the F&B and the hospitality industry. And last but not least, again, reaping the benefit of the very much accommodative, I would say, regulatory network in Turkey as well. So I would be very happy, not with Doğuş Group head, but with the investor head in, I would say, hospitality and F&B to respond to any questions. And, you know, this is, let's say, very much, I would say, important to also take that, and as you see from all responses that Investment Office of Turkey is giving the questions, namely Mr. Dağlıoğlu and their team at all times is very much helpful for every potential investor. So I would like to say you will be more welcome. Please come and join us in investing further in F&B in Turkey. So thanks so much for the time.
Thank you, Mr. Eryiğit. To be honest, I mean, your screen video was frozen, but your voice was coming very properly, so I didn't want to cut anything. Last 2 minutes, there was a problem with the voice, but I think we got your message. You said come to Turkey and invest in food and beverage. So the message was clear. Thank you very much. Now we will have a panel with our valuable guests. And I would like to invite them. We will be all together on the screen and I'll ask questions. First, Mr. Ufuk Uyan, CEO of Kuwait Türk. Welcome to our panel.
Thank you.
Mr. Ibrahim Al-Sakabi, he is the CEO of Almazaya Holding Group. Welcome. And Mr. Hamad Al-Sayer, he is the Turkish franchise CEO of Al-Sayer. Welcome. The panel name is Investment and Trade Experiences in Turkish Market. Mr. Ufuk, I would like to start with you because you have been in Turkey more than 30 years and would like to listen with you. What have you done in Turkey now and what are your future projections?
Thank you, Mr. Ersoy, and I also thank to all participants and distinguished participants and guests, also the excellencies, for being with us. In fact, Mr. Chairman Hamad El Merzouk explained in detail our presence in Turkey, but let me also touch base on what we are doing and how we are at this point. In fact, Kuwait Turk is one of the good examples of successful investments of Kuwait in Turkey. Established as an Islamic bank in 1989, with the main shareholding coming from Kuwait Finance House, which is a global leader in Islamic banking, and General Directorate of EFKAF Administration of Turkey, Kuwait Turk constitutes a genuine example of joint venture investment. By the way, we refer Islamic banks as participation banks in Turkey. With our strong capital structure, stable and healthy growth, we continue to serve our clients as a full-fledged corporate, commercial and retail participation bank in Turkey. As of end of May 2021, the share of participation finance institutions in the assets of the banking sector in Turkey reached to 7.3% and deposits nearly to 10%. Kuwait Turk ranks the first among the participation banks in terms of funds collection and financing and asset size, and 10th place in the banking sector in terms of assets. We are now offering quality banking, fast banking services, especially utilizing technological solutions through our 6,000 employees and 439 branches across Turkey. We have a branch in Bahrain and also a full-fledged subsidiary in Germany, namely KT Bank AG, with 5 branches over there. We have established the first research and development center in Turkish banking sector, which developed the projects like BOA, a core banking platform, now which is being used by 4 banks in Turkey and will be used by more than 60 banks in nearly 20 countries by the end of 2021. During the pandemic period, we also offered digital assistant, which serves our customers on digital channels. Currently, while the number of our digital customers exceeded 2 million, our digital transaction rate is over 90%. If we look at the future vision and priorities as your question, we can say that our strategy dwells on 3 aspects, mainly financial health, customer experience, and digitalization. With respect to the financial health, we will continue with sustainable and profitable growth as in the past. We aim to differentiate positively from the sector in the area by maintaining our prudent approach in terms of asset quality and liquidity. When we look at the customer side, we will focus on designing our processes to meet changing customer expectations in order to maximize customer satisfaction and experience in all the products and services we offer. In order to compete in the banking sector, it is inevitable to follow digital trends closely. We are running some sub-strategies to strengthen our digital capabilities, like to increase the product range in digital channels, to facilitate the digital transformation of our branches, to advance the existing robotic processes automation we have at the moment, to create value for technological solutions such as chatbot and voice technologies, and to be a pioneer in new generation banking with API integrations. Thank you, Mr. Ersoy.
Thank you, Mr. Ufuk Uyan. I mean, I quote many words, but especially digital transformation, and you mentioned digital a lot, which is the future of banking, I think, and also you mentioned about sustainability, which is also very important. in the next question, there were some questions about real estate investments in Turkey. Are you helping them? Are you helping Kuwaiti investors? And also about Sharia compliant or Islamic finance. But please keep it. I'll ask in the second to this question.
Okay.
Mr. Ibrahim Al-Sakibi, I mean, you are the Mazaya Group. As a Mazaya Group, I want to listen your story. When did you start in Turkey, and what's the current situation in your investments in Turkey? You're on mute, Mr. Al-Sakibi.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me, Mr. Speaker, and it is an honor and a pleasure to be part of this platform with Their Excellency of Kuwait, Ambassador of Kuwait and Ambassador of Turkey, and the host and the Investment Office of Turkey and all our fellow speakers. So thank you very much. Actually, we had a very interesting experience in Turkey. We've, as a Mazaya, we are a holding company that works in real estate mainly. We're duly listed in Kuwait and in Dubai financial markets, maybe one day in Turkish, maybe financial markets. We have entered the Turkish market in 2014, around 2014. We have followed the growth in economy and we had a great experience. Alhamdulillah, we have built one of the largest real estate projects in Istanbul, Asian side. The project comprises of around 6 towers. It's a mixed-use project, residential, offices, retail. The residential, it was 1,400 units that we have, alhamdulillah, completely sold. During this also pandemic, Mr. Mehmet shed some lights on the statistics of the real estate sector. I would like to focus more maybe on our experience in Turkey in that regard, and especially in the past 2 years during the pandemic. Interesting facts that we came across to. We've managed, alhamdulillah, during the pandemic to sell the remaining units with good prices from the residentials and offices sectors, all in this past 2 years. And one of the numbers that we have came across to that from the Turkish Institute of Statistics, that around 2.7 million units were sold last year, which is around 500 billion Turkish lira. That was a great achievement, I guess, for the Turkish market. One more thing is what also brought us to invest in Turkey is the strong local demand. 90% of our projects were sold to the Turkish or to the local demand, not to the foreigner demand. Although also in the pandemic, during the pandemic, 105% increase in sales for foreigners during last year. So there's a strong demand in Turkey, which is a great incentive for any real estate or any investor to come to invest in any country. Istanbul specifically, there's a big population with a younger population. And we've noticed that Turkish people, they love real estate. So the government always is a big supporter to such thing. They've always gave good tax cuts, good incentives in terms of even with banks. They've always eased the regulations. Now, from Kuwait's perspective, or from as a Kuwaiti company, Kuwait Finance House, they've done a great job for us as an investor and for our clients in Kuwait and in the region, where they are very easy to communicate with, and they facilitated a lot of loans where they can just come in Kuwait and buy the property in Turkey. It was very convenient. This helped us a lot also working with other fellow companies, and especially Kuwait Finance House from the retail side. From the company itself, Also, they've helped us a lot in terms of providing us with the loans required with good rates to build our project itself. So they were our partner in success in that project. So this is overall our small experience in Turkey. We still have the mall. We sold all our offices and our residential units, but we're still keeping the mall. Now with the pandemic and the restrictions, it was a bit tight. However, we are seeing now after a lot of people were vaccinated, the restrictions are less, and now we're seeing the growth. We're aiming to complete renting the mall and enhancing the value of the mall and looking for new opportunities, same as what we have invested. It's a major investment that we have done, and we always look forward to look for such an opportunities.
Thank you, Mr. Sakabi. Now I want to come to Mr. Hamad Al Sayar. Mr. Hamad, you are the CEO of Turkish franchise of Sayar Group, and Karibi is very well known in Turkey. Can you tell us your brands in Turkey, your investments, and your presence in Turkey?
First of all, it's an honor having me as a participant in this webinar. I mean, we started in 2012. It's one of the most unique, great experience opening in Turkey because of the barrier of the language, because of 84 million population, the diversification, the cities. And strategically, we have it as a gateway for Eastern Europe, and we did that during the pandemic. We opened Bosnia, and that was with the biggest support from Turkey. Today we are at 40 stores, and we're planning to go in the next 10 years to 150 stores. We're about to launch another brand into retail, which is in gym sector, which is the UFC gym. But during the pandemic, we just froze that, and we're still in discussion on how to expand it. There is also another brand, well-known brand that in the next 2 years we're planning to launch in Turkey. And we see during the pandemic, to be honest, I have to thank the government for all the support, for especially in the considering our effect economically, supporting and staffing, helping even with the real estate, the regulations. When we first started, we had some difficulties other than the language, which was the rent was mainly in dollars and euros, which put us in an arbitrage and have a loss. But now I think with all the support and understanding, everything is clearing up, and the support is increasing. In Turkey, there is 56% of the population in service sector, which is great for retail. And as we concentrate on is daily use and support by technology. Also, we're starting some technology platforms there, and I believe there is a great talents in Turkey. So that's where we are today. Thank you, Mr. Sayar.
Now, my second question will be similar to all of you. I mean, what will be your advice to Kuwaiti investors? But also, I would like to ask your help, because there are lots of questions coming to the Q&A or chat, and I want to apologize. Sometimes you see my finger coming to the screen because I try to mute or see the question. So if you find a nice question to be answered, I will try to pick the questions, but please help me, Mr. Mehmet Ali and Mr. Arid.
Soy, thank you for this opportunity, because also I was trying to catch all the questions. I'm trying to answer that I can, but what I see is there are a lot of audiences they are complaining about some residential projects or some real estate projects that have been scammed or fraud. And I was trying to give an idea about that. But if you allow me, I would like to have a few words about that.
Mr. Mehmet Ali, sorry, I mean, we are about to finish our panel. After the panel, I will give the word to you.
All right,
because
thank you.
the last questions about what are your advices to the Kuwaiti investor, then I'll come to the Q&A. The Q&A didn't start yet. Thank you.
All right.
Now, Mr. Ufuk, I mean, I mentioned to you about there were some questions about Islamic finance or Sharia compliant products, or are you helping the Kuwaiti investors in real estate transactions, and your recommendations to wrap up?
Yani if I want to mention about our supports given to Kuwaiti investors as a Kuwait Türk Participation Bank, we have a deep experience and expert staff in the service we provide to foreign investors. We provide domestic and overseas customers with privileged services at our Istanbul private banking branch and 12 private banking corners in various branches, 6 of them in Istanbul and the remaining in Anatolia. Also, in order to enhance the customer experience, we have also gathered and authorized 58 of our branches to open foreign accounts and serve with English and Arabic speaking experienced staff. The services we offer to our clients can be classified as financial solutions, consultancy services, and investment products. For financial solutions, we finance foreign customers, especially from the Gulf, with profitable rates, especially for real estate financing. They can benefit from our financing products with flexible payment options. We also provide special offers for completed or ongoing construction projects in Turkey. I recognize there are a lot of complaints, fraud, etc. I would like to urge and recommend all Kuwaiti investors to buy ongoing or uncompleted projects through Kuwait Türk financing, because in Turkey, banking law guarantees the rights of customers who finance their real estate purchases through banks' designated projects. This is very important, Yanis. Now I recognize that there are a lot of complaints. If it had been through a bank financing designated project, the bank has to refund the client if the project is not completed, or has to complete the construction. There are examples of this in the past. So this is very important for the Kuwaiti investors investing in real estate in Turkey. For the consultancy side, our expert advisors provide detailed information in support in many fields. With the amendment made in Turkey's current citizenship law, foreign investors' access to Turkish citizenship has been facilitated. Foreigners who meet conditions would be eligible to acquire citizenship under the new regulations. We provide consultancy and help them to access necessary tools for our Kuwaiti customers to meet their obligations in obtaining citizenships, especially if a foreign investor buys a real estate up to $250,000 or invests $500,000 for 3 years, then there is a right to apply for citizenships. We also provide consultancy services to our foreign investors in all financial processes such as taxes, company establishment, evaluation of international contracts, agreements, buying or selling real estate, and legal questions. Finally, the investment side, we have a subsidiary called KT Portfolio Management Company. With this, we aim to foreign customers to receive the best service with our wide product range, such as investments instruments, including the sukuk offers to private banking customers. Also, Kuwait Finance House customers can access to their accounts in Kuwait from Kuwait Türk branches in Turkey without any expense. So I urge all Kuwaiti investors to invest to Turkey through Kuwait Türk, which is a solid and reliable partner, which is in Turkey for more than 30 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ufuk, for your valuable insights. Mr. Sakabi, I mean, your advice to Kuwaiti investors. You are on mute again. You're on mute.
Yes, thank you. Actually, I think what Mr. Ufuk just mentioned is very important. For my advice would be for all investors to utilize the great relationship between first of all, the great relationship between the two governments. We've always found their doors are open in terms of the embassy in Kuwait, or the Turkish embassy in Kuwait, where we have met the ambassador and the commercial attaché, or our embassy in Turkey, which they're always welcoming to any advices in terms of commercial attaché, or what's the best way forward, or who's to contact, or who's are the best partners. Now, in terms of financials, Kuwait Turk being Kuwaiti Turkey company, I mean, being in Kuwait and Turkey, it's very convenient for any investor in Kuwait, and you would have a great service in Kuwait. But my advice also, other than capitalizing on the great relationship, is the concern, on the other hand, is the concern of the Turkish lira. To be honest, a long-term investor or a short-term investor has to, depending on their appetite of investments, to watch out for the Turkish lira. Now, there's a lot of ways to mitigate that risk, but they have to be aware of the value of Turkish lira and how to deal with it in the future. Short-term investors could do hedging, whether they have good rates, whether in Turkey or outside Turkey. Kuwait Turk could be a great help in that. But for real estate, I believe for big investors, you could use the great treaties between Kuwait and, in short, to use the great treaties between Kuwait and Turkey. The capital tax gain, I think, is zero, and the dividends also taxes. So it's one of the best treaties, tax in the GCC, also between Kuwait and Turkey, and use the right channels, the help of the embassies. And for the foreigner, for the lira, then you have to have a clear plan going forward, whether it's short or long term, how to deal with the lira upside or downside cycle of the lira. I think this is the most three important things for me, at least.
Yeah, I think so. Turkish lira volatility, as a Turkish citizen, we get used to it, but as a foreigner, it's really volatile, I have to admit.
There are solutions. It's just that you can't just get into the market without having in mind what to do, what's your plan or the way forward in that perspective. There are a lot of solutions. Some people made money out of it, but it depends on your appetite and perspective going forward.
Okay, thank you very much. And Mr. Hamad, your last remarks, your recommendation to especially maybe food and beverage investments.
I agree with Mr. Ufuk and Mr. Ibrahim, and the only thing I would add to what they said is in retail, I think you have to have the right Turkish partner, whatever formation is that, but I think it's very important to understand the culture, the language barrier, and I think to utilize, again, as everybody concurred, to utilize the services that is offered by the embassy in two countries, a great relation. And again, with the exchange rate, I agree with Mr. Ibrahim, but also it's if you're a long termer, I don't think you're going to be affected there. If you're thinking about growth, it's a revolving thing. But I believe in a Turkish market, the numbers are increasing. Like visitors reached over 40 million in Istanbul in 2019, ignoring the pandemic periods. The age median is 32 years old, and I think whole population of 60 million in Istanbul. I think those numbers just do them. it depends on what you're concentrating on, and I think the more day-to-day and more affordable would work on a long term and would be sustainable for an investor. So that's my recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. Sir. And we finished our panel, we finished our program, but now the final Q&A session. And Mr. Mehmet Ali, I would like to start with you because as you have seen, there were lots of questions about real estate and some complaints, some frauds. And I see that you have a solution and you are excited to answer this question.
I would like to talk about this because it was too tough to write answers to each question through the chat panel. Thank you for the opportunity. I would like to say shanty areas exist in any city. So in the real estate market, if you look at it like a city, there are lightened and secure places that you can enjoy your life there, but also there are some shanty areas, and it's inevitable. In any city, in any country, you may see that. When I say shanty, I am talking about the financial problems or regulatory problems. So if the decision is to make an investment and the acquisition of the real estate is to make an investment, then I highly recommend to use any real estate investment fund structure, either from KT portfolio or any other portfolio management şirketi, which has been listed in Capital Markets Board website. If you like to enjoy the returns, then go acquire some fund shares and diversify your portfolio with different fund shares. If you would like to have a residential unit for your own use, which is not an investment actually, you can buy a summer house or a suite, whatever. Anyhow, please, everyone should use a professional advisor. There is CBRE here in Turkey, there is Cushman & Wakefield here in Turkey, there is JLL here in Turkey, there are local ones here in Turkey, but even if you have an advisor, please make an independent appraisal valuation report. Those licensed companies, again, being listed in Capital Markets Board website. Again, okay. So when you have an independent appraisal report, in that report, you will see whether it is in which situation, where is this, like there are some items there that you need to take care of, that your advisor will gonna give you an idea. Once you have the independent appraisal report, you will see the fair value and emergency sale value in that report. So in terms of value, you'll have an idea from independent advisor. And then if you are using some financing, then the banker, your banker, Kuwait Turk or any other banker, will be looking your acquisition as well, because they are financing it, right? So they are trying to be the safe side as well. So they are checking the credit score of the developer that you can check as well, but your banker will be checking the credit score of the developer as well. So please make sure that, like when you buy property in London, you just go buy and through your tourism guide. No, please do not do that in Turkey as well. I'm not like, please do not get offended, and I'm not accusing anyone, but this is what I heard, and some tourist guides became investment advisors for some GCC investors. Please do not use them. They are good to take you to dinner, but not to buy a property. So please make independent appraisal report, use your banker as an advisor, but still please have a real estate advisor, like a real estate broker, not from a corner shop, but from a reliable branded one. If you would like to have a property just for your own family use, if it's gonna be a investment, like a hotel or residential, again, but for investment, a mall, like Mazaya's mall, let's say, might be for sale. So you can, if you talk to Mr. Ibrahim Al-Saqavi, if they'd like to sell it, then buy it through a fund structure. While I think our funds have 7 or 8 properties from Mazaya project, which is a very nice one. But if you do an investment, do it, it's a no-brainer. If you're gonna do an investment, not again, a personal, private, family use property investment, do it through a fund structure, either real estate or non-real estate. It could be a company investment. You have private investment fund structures. Please do it in a regulated way. So once you do that, you will not have any headache.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mehmet Ali. By the way, I had to change my from iPad to iPhone because my battery was dying. That was the reason of the change in the view. Any other comments from our panelists who wants to answer some of the questions in the Q&A or chat, or any comments from the other panelists' comments you would like to mention, like a key takeaway from this conversation? Feel free to join, please, Mr. Ufuk, or I don't know.
I just want to add one thing here. I think
yes.
I want to thank you for the IT solutions and the e-sign. I mean, for the past year and a half almost, I didn't go to Turkey, but yet all operation is smooth. Everything is acceptable. Help is there. So I just want to appreciate that during pandemic. The support is there. The solutions are increasing from banking, and I think just facilitating for investors an ease of the operation.
Thank you. Mr. Sakabe, do you have any last takeaway? I don't know.
Actually, I'd like to thank our embassies, both in Kuwait and in Turkey. And I would highly advise small or medium investors to approach them. Their doors are always open, and they have great access, and the investment office as well. Their doors are always open. You can talk to them day or night. At least this is our experience. And they've been very helpful, and they can put you in contact with whomever you want, as legal, as financial, at least the right people, just to avoid any misunderstanding investing in Turkey. So their doors are open. Our experience was great, both in Kuwait and in Turkey. So I'd like to thank them first of all, and advise any other investors to approach them first before even, it would be the first stop to do before even getting into the market. It was great experience and help for us.
Thank you. I think it's a good message, because what I realize is if you don't go through the right channels, either through embassies or investment office or Kuwait, Turk, I mean respected parties, there are always brokers who tries to maybe fool you. I don't know. So go to the respected parties, let me say. Mr. Arid, Mr. Ufuk, would you like to add any comments? We are about to finish.
Thank you very much. I think, made the point regarding the most of the questions. Yeah, and for the future, of course, the past is past, and you can see similar fraud and risks in all countries, as Mr. Mehmet mentioned. So for the future, we should be very careful, especially for the ongoing projects. We see, even if you get the vekale or you take a assessment, there are also frauds. So I urge, and really I advise Kuwaiti investors to do this ongoing project purchases through a bank. There is a second guarantee. If it is not finished, the bank has to complete or refund. So these are important for the investors. For the other investment types, we have channels, and we have portfolio company also. Similar ventures also have the same. I thank the ambassadors and Mr. Chairman attending to this meeting and supporting us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The same from here. Thanks so much once again for the opportunity. And I'd like to extend again the warm welcome to all potential investors, to all our potential partners. So thank you.
Thank you. I was the host and the moderator, but I mean the main host is of course the presidency office and our ambassadors, and I would like to give the last word to them. And before giving the last word to Mr. Burak, I want to thank all our panelists, all our audience, and everybody. I learned a lot, and I hope this panel and this meeting can open new doors between Kuwait and Turkey. Mr. Burak, would you like to make the last closing remarks?
Thanks to ambassadors. Thank you, Ersoy Bey, for again successful moderation. I seen that the participation was really good, and it was an interactive session. We got many questions. Most of them are answered. So we will be in contact with the people, with the participants to respond them on a personal basis, because some of them are having some personal cases. So we will be directly in contact with them. So I would like to thank again all panelists and speakers, because it was really contributing to the discussions, and last thanks to the attendees as well. So thanks for sharing your time. Looking forward to meet you in Turkey.
Thank you, and we are closing our panel, and have a nice day
Thank
from
you.
Dubai to everybody.
Masalam.
Salam alaikum.
Thank you.
Asma research.